someone in the crowd? Should we get her to throw stuff
throw
at
like
you?
a girl.
This'll be fun. It's always
I mean,
fun.
I really am bad. I used to be a...
Right. Who wants something thrown at them by our guest? There you go. He's got little Pokemon figures in.
Right in the middle of the head.
Right, who?
See me!
Throw them at them.
See, I'm really good.
Go on, have another shot. See who else thinks you can throw stuff.
Okay, wait. There we go.
Right, we've got one more. I want you to try and get the Eevee there. All right.
Okay, see, I throw like a...
Duck. You ready?
Ready?
Here we go.
Got a pitch.
I'm so worried right now. Oh, it's close enough. Well done. It's fun, isn't it?
I actually did a charity softball game with some of the alumni, true athletes from USC. And I was with Linda Blair, actually. We're on the same team. And I thought I could play. First hit to left field went through my legs. And I was very embarrassed, and I just realized I shouldn't play softball anymore.
Well, I thought you did. Didn't you do a good job there hitting yours? Yeah.
That thing weighed like an ounce.
Yeah, I can get something heavier if you want to throw it
and
then.
it still went over.
Should we throw the clock at them?
Control. But I'm really good with I don't know if anybody watches Nikita, but I'm good with power tools up the brain. So
that's definitely a different skill to have with power
Right.
tools. Most people build shelves. I just drill brains.
Right. You don't want to have shaky hands with that.
So first of all, welcome to London.
Thank you. It's great to be here. This weather is amazing. Really, just some of the best. I don't know, you guys. I know you know. I'm not going to tell you to step outside today, but it's been beautiful.
Yeah, everyone see us. Off you go. No, after the panel. So
Yeah.
did you fly from the States here, or?
I flew on Wednesday from Los Angeles, and jet lag can be obviously. I'm kind of sensitive to it, but I recently just moved from Los Angeles to Ventura, which is about an hour north, and living on the beach now because I dropped my daughter in Chicago for college, and she left, so I left LA and went to the beach because I grew up on the beach. And I had a lovely ride here, and as soon as I got to my hotel yesterday, I went to bed at 4:30 p.m. and I woke up a few hours later, and it was only 8. And then I woke up at midnight, and then I woke up at 7, and now I'm here, so.
And you've got 3 days, well actually 2 and a bit days of con now.
Well, pardon?
You've got 2 more days of con to survive.
Right now, and I'm running to bed tonight. No, it's a party in my room. Let's go. Woo! I got a bottle of tequila waiting. No, just kidding.
Don't say that, they'll be like, so what time's the party, whereabouts? Right, you bring the salt. Who's going to bring it? Is it lime you have with tequila, or is it lemon? Lemon, I don't know how to drink.
Better be 100% agave. Anyway.
So, first of all, I want to talk about Gotham. So recently, just not too long ago, you were in Gotham?
Gotham, yes. Did anybody see that? I got, yes. I ended up eating my children. Isn't that crazy? And Paul Rubens, Pee Wee Herman was my husband, and my dear friend Ben McKenzie from the OC, although I didn't get to work with him on that. What a wonderful time. And it was actually the biggest snowstorm that New York City has ever had. They closed the city, and you could run down the streets in the middle of in Manhattan. The entire city was closed because they got 22 inches in 2 hours. And people were literally snowboarding behind trucks through the city, like Times Square. Anyway, what a wonderful group, and I'm so happy for Ben McKenzie. The producer, Danny Cannon, was also the producer who cast me as Lady Heather in CSI way back when. He also produced Nikita. It's all in the family, so essentially. So it's nice to get asked to do things from people that you've known since 2001. So very proud of I'm always proud and very congratulatory to my peers who do well. Yeah.
Because unfortunately that character had a bit of a horrible demise. Let's say.
This character?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm always dying in things. Don't they want me back? No, No, it was quite, that was, to say the least, it's creepy, you know, but that's what, I mean, it's amazing what we can get away with on, as we call network television, because they're trying to keep up with cable now, correct? And the standard, I mean, back when we were doing the OC, we could barely say the word MILF. Sorry, kids.
That's fine, MILF's acceptable here.
But now, because of standards and practices, but now it's interesting, you know, how, I know it's like kids are getting exposed to things that are, like my daughter loves horror. I personally get scared even shooting horror.
My daughter's 11 and she's desperate to watch the new It, and I'm kind of like, ooh, maybe not. We'll start on something less scary, like Bambi. That's scary enough. Yeah, we'll stick with that.
I only did one serious horror film, and that was years ago, and it was in horror films in the early 90s. I don't know if you all horror film fans remember. It was post-Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street, and before Scream, the early 90s. If you were lucky to get a horror film, they were kind of on the lower budgeted side, and the one that I did was called Return of the Living Dead 3, The Zombie. And I remember, not only was it just, the makeup took 8 hours to get done, but it was the first time I worked 24 hours and all that. But the actual zombies, when the puppeteers, and they're coming after my character, I literally screamed, and it wasn't acting. It's the creep, it was the scariest. They were so good at these characters, these zombies coming after me. It was like, get me away from this. So, no, I don't actually go see horror films, but I appreciate it when you like mine.
Yeah, it's worth. Just go watch you, but you just won't watch yourself. I know what happens. I don't need to watch it. It's fine.
There's quite a few. There's quite a few fans of that zombie. I love that it's and this year is the 25th anniversary of that film, and I've had quite a few people come up and say, that defined my teen years, that zombie.
That's why I've never slept since.
Right.
Well, seeing you've mentioned the OC as well, the OC was kind of like the next big teen drama, like Dawson's Creek kind of defined the genre, but then the OC came along and it was more current, it was more relevant, and even though you said it was very tough to cover certain subjects, the OC still managed to cover some very interesting topics, especially your character as well. Had to deal with the death of family members and everything like that, which I assume was very, very tough emotionally to act.
I gotta tell you, yes, the 4th season after Marissa's demise, and the 3rd season, I was crying for about 3 months. You know, for the first 3 episodes, I was crying quite a bit. But I don't know. This role was one of my favorite roles of all time. It was so much fun. I think in the beginning, I think the creator, Josh Schwartz, he really created this show, and I don't know if he even knew at the time, but it was quite the Trojan horse, in that it wasn't just a 90210. It was about these kids, but it was just as much as about the parents. And then Josh Schwartz himself, being an outsider from Rhode Island, who went to USC and saw these, and then experienced Orange County. And by the way, I grew up there. I'm the only cast member that grew up in Orange County. And I realized his point of view was that it was this, and then of course it spawned the Real Housewives of Orange County and Laguna Beach and all these different things. And actually my parents still lived there, and I'm like, wait a second, some stupid show called The OC has made this place kind of fancy, and it used to be a cute little beach town. Sorry. But it was really interesting for me, because every storyline, well, even to answer your question, what this show did, as opposed to some of the other shows, instead of reflecting pop culture, Josh Schwartz managed to create pop culture, especially with bands and music that were unknown, and that witty humor that he gave. And he also went up to Adam Brody and Peter Gallagher and my character, and it was things that things that people hadn't quite seen, that voice, the dialogue. And in television, showrunners, the writers, they have to be inspired to write for these characters every single day. because it could go 1 year, it could go 10 years. And my job is to show up on set, do the dialogue the way it's written, kids, and then maybe add a little something, especially, and my advice to young actors is make sure you take the risk every day for 10 months. If you have the opportunity to be on a show, do something. And so even if it doesn't work. So I started adding in things that were maybe bigger than life or humorous, and it would inspire the writers to write, and that's why the character grew and grew and grew. But I can't tell you that at the end of it, when I look back at all the scripts and the storylines on the show, I could tell you, because I grew up there and in my teens, I could tell you every single script, I had a similar story, knew a similar story, or even more stories. You know, so it was a wonderful time in my life, because I'd go to work for a few days, and my daughter was 3, she's 18 now. Gosh, I can't believe that.
I do like the fact you mentioned music as well. It's one of those shows where music was such an important part, because people associate those songs with scenes. I think probably the most famous one is the What You Say with the shooting, and even that ended up on SNL and being parodied.
Of the Californians, yeah. Or even, you know, or even the opening song. I mean, I was not aware, but you know, like on 90210, they would just take the most popular song and put it on the show, whereas Josh Schwartz took it upon himself to find these bands, the Thrills, the Killers, Modest Mouse, or some of these bands that people weren't aware of. And the popularity of that show really helped these bands. But by the end, U2 were putting their songs on our show. I was like, U2! Anyway.
Because the songs kind of get associated with the scene, and the right song can add to that impact as well.
Yeah.
I think the OC was one of those shows which they just got the music right each time, and it just really helped sell the scene, the emotional scenes.
And you could buy the CDs, and I was like, where's my money from that? Just kidding. I'm cynical.
But it's one of those shows as well that I think people can watch back, and it's still kind of relevant now. Some of the storylines still are relevant and can still apply to people now, that a lot of shows back when the OC was on haven't really continued and transferred over.
I just think, you know, for instance, it's my daughter, who was 3, and then when she became of age, she watched Gossip Girl and, you know, Pretty Little Liars and Vampire Diaries. Well, no, she wouldn't watch that one because I was on that one. But she wouldn't watch anything that I was on. And she's only I said, you know, I like that you like all those shows, but sweetheart, this one, just the writing, and I think the cast came together in such a way that Josh would listen. He would listen to our regular conversations. Like the scenes between Misha and Adam Brody talking about music really happened. Or the way Rachel says, ew, you know, those really happen. I'm not like Julie Cooper, I swear. but I think that and Adam Brody really is humorous like that. So I think that, like I said, Josh and Peter Gallagher really does sing. I mean, I think that it was just, I really, there's so many of these shows are getting redone, and people keep asking if it could get redone. I don't see any reason why not, but you never know.
The OC is one of those shows where maybe they could go make a new season of the OC and bring back some of the characters, so it's kind of like new characters, but the old characters can appear.
Or they'll probably do Misha, or, you know, the kid before Misha died thing, you know, when they were little.
That'd be cool. But anyway, Josh also, I believe, was in charge of one of my favourite shows, which was Chuck. Chuck, yes. Is any Chuck fans in here? Anyone seen Chuck? I love it.
I remember the Russian for some reason.
Of all the lines, remember, it's the Russian. Sasha Banachek, I believe.
That's what it was. I thought it said Natalia.
Yeah, I'm sure it was Sasha Banachek. It's one of my favourite shows, and that's actually one of my favourite episodes.
Really?
Just for the fact that Zach Levi is trying to be the secret agent, trying to show off. And you could tell it looked like you were having fun with it, and like saying the lift, I'd take you up for sexy time and all this. It just looked like you were having so much fun. Up there we go. So there's you in the Chuck episode there. It just looked like you were having so much fun.
Well, and look, they cut my bangs too short. I remember being mad about that. Yeah, no, that was fun. That was a lot of fun working on that. They were doing long hours, I remember. Yeah, but
you're quite good at the villainous characters. You seem to pull that off really well.
I know, in real life I smile.
It's a
Yeah,
total
but
opposite.
I have that, you know, that bitch, that face if I don't smile. So I try to smile as much as I can.
Was it
'Cause
fun
my
playing?
daughter calls it the death stare.
The mum death stare of doom. So what was it like playing a deadly assassin? I think she was called the Black Widow as well, of all that names to have.
Well, and they call it, and it's the same. The casting director who cast me in the OC, and he said, "Can you do a Russian accent?" And I said, "Sure, why not?" Well, I hadn't ever, but you know, it was so it was a lot of fun. No, and to learn the Russian and gosh, it was a while ago. CJ, I can't remember everything about it. I just remember that we, you know, I don't know if people understand. It can be so much fun. It's, you know, but it's a lot of work. A lot of these shows, a normal day and a perfect day, it's only about 13 hours with lunch. Most of these shows are easily every day 15 to 18 and even 24 hours by the end of the week. So it's you know, so it's, you know, time is money. So you have to show up and know your, so sometimes the glamour isn't quite there, especially at the end of the week, and it's 5 a.m. on a Saturday morning, and you've been working all, you know, and my heart goes out to the crew, because I don't always work every day.
Yeah.
But this show they were definitely doing some long hours, especially if there's any kind of action involved and such. Yeah. And anytime you see a nighttime scene, it doesn't mean that we just it means that we probably started work at 6 p.m. and finished at 10 a.m. the next day, because they do all the nighttime stuff at night.
Yeah.
Obviously. So I just remember that this crew was working extremely hard. And I feel like it was one of the first seasons.
It was one of the first seasons.
Okay,
yeah.
so the first season is always the longest hours. Yeah, that's true.
While they still kind of get the idea of how it's going to work, and everyone's kind of getting each other's work.
It was fun to work with John Larroquette too, because I was always a fan of his. Yeah, and Levi is always so funny. So he's cute.
So you're talking about, obviously, it's a lot of long hours and spend lots of different time with different, obviously, cast and crew. Is there any kind of memories that stand out from those shows that just kind of always stuck with you over the years?
There's tons of memories. I mean, there's like in the OC, I think it was a lot of times it was the dialogue that just made me fall in love with it more and more and more. Like when she was having the affair. Oh, I told you my daughter, she wouldn't watch the show, and she just started watching the OC because I told her, I said, it's better written than any of these other shows. And she started, and I said, why don't you want to watch it? And she said, because I don't want to see you making out with teenage boys. I was like, I'm 32 in the show, and they're probably 25 or 27 playing 17. She's like, I know, but I still have to close my eyes. But that was my story about that. But it is true that one storyline in the OC where Julie is having an affair with her daughter's ex-boyfriend, and one of the funniest lines was she calls Luke and answers the phone. He answers the phone. She says, "Luke, meet me at the place, same room, knock 3 times." And Luke, this is a booty call. And she hangs up. And then Caleb goes, "What's a booty call?" Anyway, so there's all kinds of, like, the dialogue on the OC was what really just grabbed me, and I loved everything about that role. The dialogue on Nikita, however, was intensely techno-novel. And I was flying back and forth. I flew 45 times from Toronto to LA and moved like 14 times. And it became difficult when you're that tight, you know, to actually memorize dialogue. So I had to learn a whole new way of learning dialogue because I'm a perfectionist, and you'll never see me really on any blooper reel or gag reel. You really won't, because my father was on a soap opera called Days of Our Lives for 40 years, and he taught me never.
Did you also appear on that at one point?
I did. That was one of my first jobs. But I was always taught, you know your dialogue, syllable by syllable, and if anybody knows Nikita, I had tons and tons of dialogue. And I would spend hours and hours and hours to be perfect, because that's how you keep your job. Because if you don't
And get more jobs after that as well.
yeah, they're like, she doesn't waste time. You show up and if you don't know your dialogue, you're wasting time. They can make mistakes, but actors can't. You know. But no, Nikita specifically. What you say? What do you remember? I'm like being on a plane a lot. And I also actually went from hating the cold to being able to tolerate it, because it's 3 a.m. You're on a pier, and a helicopter's, and it's 10 below, and a helicopter's coming up and blowing water on you, and you got to learn how to maintain that. You can say, "Oh, I'm getting paid."
Maybe I need to be paid more.
No, I give my hat is off to Maggie Q and Lindsay Fonseca, who was here a couple years ago, I believe. But those girls did some intense stuff, and like I said, when it was like 15 below, 10 below, in the middle of so winter, you know, that was a tough show. But no, the torture scene of Burkoff. I think Aaron was here too. Does Aaron? You guys know Aaron Stanford from 12 Monkeys, and he was on Nikita. Anyway,
Possibly.
He's anyway. My character. There's a torture scene where I literally stick this thing up. That was memorable.
Those power tools.
What's memorable is the Living Dead, that costume taking 8 hours to get done, and then taking it off was 2 hours. But no, what's more memorable to me now is 25 years later, or over the 25, it's 27 years I've been doing this, is you guys coming up and saying, "Hey, I forgot you were in that. Hey, you were in Firefly, you were in this, you're that." And it's really rewarding to have people come up and say, "I really loved you in this." And I didn't realize how many sci-fi or genre things I had done over the years. Oh, you were in a Star Trek. Oh, you were in Sliders. Or people remember these obscure things that I don't even remember. And that's why it's just wonderful to come here and
I just love the fact you're shouting out Slide as one of my favourite shows, and Firefly as well. I'm thinking, yep, I remember you in that as well. Yep, you've been in that, and I'm thinking, you're in everything I like. Maybe it's because of you.
Oh, thank you.
Maybe.
Well, I know. Somehow I get these roles that are, I guess they're strong women. Sometimes they're dominatrix or madams, but sometimes they're just Julie Cooper in a trailer park. Which actually, by the way, I've always laughed, because along the California coast, there are tons of trailer parks, but guess how much they are? They're like $1 million, you know? And Julie always had a new outfit, even though she was living in a trailer park. Anyway, but no, that's why it's, I've had a few people, I haven't done this many of these conventions, but I've had people say, "Where's Sliders? Where's this?" or "Where is Star Trek?" And I forget, that, have the opportunity to do these things. And that's why what I love about these conventions is it's not just comic book, it's not just horror, it covers every genre now. Because, and there's, which means there's so many more people that, I actually I have like a couple OC photos, and I can't believe I didn't bring any OC photos. So, I'm sorry.
Now, can we expect to see anything else in the future? I know it's very tough to talk about future roles sometimes, but...
right now, I don't have anything in the can. Like I said, I just took some time off, and I turned down a few things that really weren't up to what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But because after Toronto and being away from my daughter for so long, I kind of I picked and choose what, I did the Vampire Diaries, I did Gotham, I did Dallas, actually. And my name's not Debbie, but no, I did a show called Swedish Dicks with Peter Stormare and Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
It's and then I took some time just to be a mom, and because there's a lot of time gone. Yeah. Unfortunately, being a mom, and my daughter was not 10 when we started Nikita, and she was 14, and I was gone a lot.
Yeah.
So I got her off to college literally a month ago, and I knew I was coming here. So hopefully it's now I'll come work anywhere in the world, you know. Now that I don't have to make sure that she's a good teenager, getting a good GPA in high school. That was my priority for the past couple of years.
Well,
So
obviously, London here for the next 3 days.
Yes,
we
I'll
can
be
find you in the signing booth straight down there, I believe, as well.
I'm next to Paul Bettany.
Oh, yes.
So tomorrow, I'm going to be talking to all his fans. And I'm going to be like, hi.
Well, thank you very much for joining us on the
Thank
stage.
you, guys.
We hope you have
Appreciate
an awesome time here in London. And obviously, if you get a chance, please go across, see Melinda. You can see she's absolutely lovely, isn't she?
Oh my gosh, Catwoman.
Where's Catwoman?
Yes.
Wow.
Can I ask you guys a question? So DC, who's excited for Aquaman? Right? Okay. Did anybody watch the Super Friends? Remember the Super Friends after school and the Wonder Twins? Wonder Twin power activate? Who's gonna play that? Come on. Look, if you don't know the Wonder Twins, you gotta look that up. That's gonna be exciting. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I remember because they appeared in
Form of an eagle, form of a bucket of water.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned Aquaman as well, because there's actually one right behind your head there.
He's dreamy. I can't wait. I can't wait. But I'm predicting, you're going to hear it here, the Wonder Twins activate. Look them up, purple. Anyway, I'm going to be them for Halloween.
Awesome. Just stand next to a mirror and you can be both sorted. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Melinda.
Thank you, guys.